Beep, beep. Good girl. Okay, so before I get into homework for the weekend, I want to go over real quick markers. So that's what this week has been about, is gaining focus, establishing a marker system, and teaching her how to properly learn. It's normally something that's a little bit easier to do, but because she is easily distracted, a lot of my focus has been on helping her understand how to take food out of my hand consistently without just completely losing her off to do other things. So a marker is a cue or sound or word that marks a moment in time that I like something that she does, and for her it's going to announce the arrival of food. So I'm conditioning a response to that where every time she hears this word, food is presented, and that way over time the association is created that marker equals arrival of food. So that way I can kind of bridge the gap between behavior and reinforcement so that I'm properly rewarding the right thing and not anything that happens between ideal behavior and delivery of reinforcement. So she has a couple of different words or a couple of different variations of markers. So we have the word yes and we have the word good and okay. Yes is going to be the primary one that I'm focusing right now. That's the one that I use to shape new behaviors. Every time she hears the word yes, it's going to be followed with food. She doesn't have to do anything past hearing that word yes. So if she does something that I like, I will say yes, and I will let her come take food from me. Good and okay, those are going to be more focused around building duration, which she's certainly not at right now. If she's calm enough, I'll kind of throw in that good, and let her stay in behavior. But I don't want to push things too far and lose her and have her not understand it properly. So I'm not super worried about that one just yet. Just to go over it, good means I like what you're doing right there, continue doing it. So I'll say good, offer a reward, good, offer her a reward, good, offer her a reward. I'll bring the reinforcement to her so that she stays in behavior. And then when I'm ready for her to come out of behavior, I'll say okay, and let her follow my hand out of behavior. Eventually those will be a little bit more neutral, meaning that they're not going to always be followed with food, but I have to create that association right now. So no is a different marker. I'm not technically really using that just yet because I want her to understand what I'm expecting of her before I tell her she's doing something wrong. Excuse me, yes. I want that to be something that you utilize at home because she's a distracted little thing all over the place, as you know, just crazy all the time. I really want you to work on building engagement and putting value within yourself. So you're gonna start out small. For me, we haven't really done anything outside of the training room because she's not even in here. She's motivated by things around us. She's sniffing the ground, whatever. She's just distracted by every little thing that's happening. So you're gonna start in your house, and then you can work your way out to maybe the front porch or the back. I don't know how your house is set up or what your living situation is. So in the front yard, in the backyard, things where you're setting her up for success. It's not something where we're gonna take her to the park and she's not going to offer any attention because there's so much going on. Oh, I lost her, she's going to sleep. So what I want it to be is we're going to mark and reward her for showing us attention. I'm going to help her, or I want her to be socialized in a way that she's mostly finding value in her handler and the outside world, or the environment, I shouldn't say outside, the environment around her, whatever that is neutral. Because right now, everything is a novelty. Everything is so exciting and brand new and she wants to go explore it, and you're essentially just a ground pole with her pivoting around you and running around and doing all those other things. She has no regards for anything that you have to offer. And I'm saying you in general because it's the same thing with me, and she's just so fixated on everything happening around her. So I want to build value in what I have to offer through the markers and through how I deliver the reward. So it's not going to just be I say yes and then I slam food into her face. I want her to have a little bit of work ethic in taking that food from me. So when I say yes and she comes back to me, I'm going to make my hand move so she has to come get it. Like, work a little harder to get it Sometimes I'll even, as she's coming to get it, I'll move my hand really quickly so that she misses and has to turn and chase after my hand. I'll do that a couple of times. So even if she's not the most motivated through food, because everything else is so much more motivating, you can add the value, you can add value to that, whatever the food that you're using, the reward that you're using, by tapping into her natural prey drive. So I'll kind of demonstrate a little bit of what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you like my luring. I want her to, first let's go over how I have my hand. So I'm gonna take a couple of treats. I've just been using little hot dog pieces. I have my hand flat like this with the hot dogs kind of in the nooks of my fingers, and I have my thumbs over it. So that way she can push into it. Yes. And then when I say yes, I move my thumb out of the way and let her lick those sweet out. But I'm not letting her take that food unless she's pushing into it. That's more so for luring and not just the yes marker. I want her to be comfortable with following my hand around. Leia. So she's pushing, yes. And then I can move my hand around, yes. So that is, it doesn't look like much, but that's a huge improvement because before she would sniff and then it wasn't easily accessible, so she'd just run off on her own. So I'm building value in her staying engaged with my hand and pushing into it so that I can lure her into her heel or lure her into a sit or a down or whatever. I need her to understand how to do that before I can actually teach those things. So as far as engagement goes, I want to reward her for checking in with me. So again, we want to start out in a neutral environment where there's not a lot of exciting things happening so that you can even a little bit get that. If you start in somewhere really exciting for her or new, it's just going to be being dragged around by her. So I'll have a couple of treats ready, and then when she looks over at me, yes. So, hopefully I wasn't shy. Yes. And I don't care about the jumping. I don't care about all that stuff. Yes. I don't want her jumping on me, but if she is being excited, yes, then I'll take it. And I'm gonna even take her off leash so that I would keep her on leash depending on where you are, just so she can't check out. At least starting out, you're gonna keep her on leash. I started out with her on leash. What happens is she just goes off and finds other things of value. So she's sniffing a blanket right now, so she's finding, even though she's just sniffing a blanket, she's finding a reward elsewhere away from me. Leia! Good girl! Yes! So we're chasing my hand. Yes! Good job! Get their treat away. Wait. Leia! Hey! So I'm gonna put her back on leash because she's checked out. What I normally do is when she does this, I put her in a kennel and I get another dog out. Yeah, good girl. But for sake of video, I'm gonna keep working with her. So I don't want her checking out, and I don't want to give too much feedback. Yes, with the leash. Yeah. So even though she has her face in my hand, yes, I'm not letting her have it right away. Yes. Yes. So when you're taking her around places and she's showing a lot of interest and stuff, you're going to keep moving around. Yes. And as soon as she checks in with you, yes, then you can pay her. If you want to avoid the jumping up, where you place the delivery, yes, is going to be down where you want. So we're not going to reward her up here, even though she's jumping up. Hey, yes, I'm not going to pay her up here because I don't want her getting reinforced up there. Yes. So we'll put her back down there. She's finding value in being down that part, down that low. Those cars going by. Yes. Yeah, here. I stole her shoe. You can't exercise. Yes. And then you can toss in some Leia. Yes. Getting her used to responding to her name. That'll be the prequel to the recall. Leia, yes. Leia. Yes. Leia. Yes. And when you are rewarding her, Leia, yes. the reinforcement happening. Instead of just a treat and we're moving away, that reward event can last a little bit longer. Yes. So we keep her engaged with us longer. Okay, good girl. If she's always just getting one treat, she'll learn to, Leia, yes, take one treat and then be done with you. You're stuck on my hand. Good. Okay, so she doesn't know how many she's going to get. Leia, out. Girl, Leia. I'm just gonna get her. Leia, yes. Good girl. Yes. Good job. Okay, good girl. Here we go. You're so good. Good job. All right. That's all I have for you. You're crazy.